leaders and allies. We welcome you here with my partner in crime and all things good, Janice Mathis, Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women. And we are here to celebrate this her story, this Black her story moment, if you will, American history moment, all history moment of having the Ketanji Brown Jackson, Judge Ketanji Brown, to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court of the United States. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Roland Martin Unfiltered, for being our media partner. We're here at the Point D.C. with about 100 plus people that are coming through to celebrate this moment, but also in the celebration, always a party. We want to dissect this just a little bit and have some conversations with folks that are coming. I'm going to turn it over, and then move over to my sister Fatima, powerful sister here, just to tell us what this day means to you. I can tell you, for me, it's just pure joy, and it's okay to stop for a moment and celebrate what we were able to do as Black people, as Black women, when we turned out the vote and we put President Biden and Vice President Harris in the office, and they kept their promise, and they said they would put a Black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, and they did that. And today we celebrate. My sister Janice.
Thank you so much, Melanie. And thank you to all of these sisters who are gathered here today. When I think about this moment and what it means to us, it's so full of meaning. The first thing I think about is I've got 2 granddaughters, and they will never know a world where a Black woman couldn't be on the Supreme Court. So I'm grateful for that. And then I think about what it means for all the brilliant lawyers and judges and advocates around the country who happen to be Black, who are women, and they've been talented for a long time. And now there's new avenues of opportunity opened up for them. It wasn't that we didn't have the talent, we didn't have the space. And now we got the space. And so there's that to be happy about. And then there's happiness and joy about a president who would make a promise and not break a promise, even when the politics would have said, man, you really can't do that. And so there's a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be grateful for. But look, we still got police reform and voting rights and COVID. The work is not done, but it's nice to take a breather, isn't it?
Yes.
It's nice to take a And let me say one more thing, and I promise I'm going to hush. To see Black women working together the way we have worked these past few weeks and months, organizations I didn't even know existed, She Will Rise. And then organizations that I knew about that were almost as old as NCNW, is 87 years old. But the AKs and the Deltas and the Links and everybody said, look, doesn't matter what organization we come from. We got leadership in Melanie. We are Black women and allies. I rode over with Sheila Katz from the National Council of Jewish Women. So that's what we mean when we say allies. It's not just Black women who felt this moment. And look, now that we know how to do this, we're going to keep doing this over and over. You're going to see this strategy again. Take your microphone down.
No, we together. Thank you. And we're doing this, and we leaders and allies for the fight for voting rights and economic security. We helped get the Build Back Better bill at least moving. It's not there yet. We helped get the infrastructure bill. We're going to get voting rights, and we said we're going to use this coalition to push to help in a collective fashion to get this sister across the finish line. And so I want my sister Fatima Goss Graves to come talk to us. She's the president of the National Women's Law Center, and he's been doing this. All these brilliant lawyers around here walking around. Just tell us what it means to you and share with us.
I've just been overwhelmed all day. I have been overwhelmed with pride in the soon-to-be Justice Jackson, now confirmed. To see her up there and the way in which she really reminded us exactly who she is, right? She's a woman of many talents. She's a woman of faith and family, but she also is a woman who knows who she is. The way she honored the legacy and understood the history of this moment and used her remarks today to express gratitude and allow all of us to share in it. Oh my goodness, I was so proud of her. And I was proud of all of the Black women who made Georgia happen. I have thought again and again, the senators Ossoff and Warnock cast their votes. If they were not there to cast their votes, it would have been different. If Senator Durbin wasn't there to guide the committee, it would have been different. If Leader Schumer was there to be able to guide us so that we are walking into this recess knowing that she has been confirmed and it will be celebratory for the next 2 weeks, it would have been different. And of course, if President Biden and VP Harris weren't there, it would have been different. So I was just so proud of all of the work that got us here. And then I just have to say, I have spent the last 2 months thinking about all of the black women attorneys around today, around before, whose names were being introduced as a part of this process. People have now learned that we should have had a black woman on the Supreme Court a whole long time ago. That we are a lesser country, I think, because we didn't have, Justice Marian Wright Ullman, the founder of the Children's but Jones, Constance Motley, so many greats over the generations who weren't even considered. We will never have a time where black women aren't a part of the mix. And I understand that it is really difficult to be a first. And I know that she understands that it is difficult to be a first. But oh my gosh, she's so ready to carry that burden for us all. And I am just grateful. So pride and gratitude is how I feel today.
Dr. Elsie, Walters Center at Howard University. Correct me if I've messed that up a little bit. Dr. Elsie, who also sits on the board of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and the NCAA. So all these free jobs. You do so many jobs. But Elsie, tell us what you're thinking.
I'm sitting about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when we were sort of voices crying in the wilderness with not a lot of people paying attention. As Carol Jordan mentioned earlier today, I remember sitting around that table and we talking about what we could do, but we didn't have the troops to do it. But this really makes me feel so proud, and I just want to thank Melanie for staying there and continuing to fight and keeping us in line. We thank Janice Mathis and NCNW for the fight. And it just tells us that we have a lot more work to do. But as somebody said, but we are taking this day to stand back and say, great job, sisters. You all did a wonderful job. And we are so proud of the women, the men, the blacks, the whites, the Hispanics, everybody who pitched in to help with this fight. But we also know that tomorrow is a new day, and we have a long agenda, as somebody mentioned about prison reform. I'm a political scientist. I started off studying judges. That was my area of expertise. But then I got switched over to police because it seemed like that was a bigger problem. But it shows us that there is so much work to be done in this country. We have to make sure that it continues to be a democracy. We have to make sure that women's voices are not forgotten. And so today I come with my sisters. As somebody mentioned, somebody was sending out a thing say, is she an AK? Another person said, is she a Delta? I said, no, she's a black woman. And so we are just so proud of all the work that everybody has done, and we look forward to the next battle.
And now it's a pleasure for me to introduce a woman who has paid dues, not only for herself and her organization. What I really love about this next speaker is that she brings young folk by the hand. A lot of us talk about what we want to do for the next generation, and we are role models. But she demonstrates her concern by bringing them with her into the struggle. The organization is called Georgia Stand Up. The great leader is Deb Scott, and I've known her for over a decade. No, more like 2, because we still look good. People talk about the Voting Rights Act. We were trying to get the Voting Rights Act reauthorized. The first time I was on the South Lawn of the White House was when George Bush signed the Voting Rights Act. but this woman, Deb Scott, had more to do with helping us get there than anybody I can think of. Deborah Scott, Georgia, stand up.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank Georgia. So thank the women and the men of Georgia that pressed that vote and said we want to elect representatives. So we always talk about the kitchen table issues, and we talk about how the kitchen table issues reflecting policy and progress. And so they get to see that today. 7 hours, because they persevered, because another black woman carried them there, because another black woman called them, because women like us got them out to vote, they get to see themselves reflected today in Ketanji Brown, Jackson. Ketanji Brown Jackson represents all of us. So I hail from the state of Georgia. Georgia, stand up. We want to say thank you to every one of those women and men that have helped us to get there, but the work is not done. We're still fighting voter suppression, but we're going to still take this moment of joy and say thank you, because this is an intergenerational movement. As is said, some people don't know that there wasn't a black president before, or there wasn't a black vice president. And now they're not going to know that there was never a black woman on the Supreme Court, because there's a whole generation that's just going to expect it, and they expect excellence. And we're going to continue to fight on the bottom line, fight, organize, mobilize, and strategize. But for me, this day is just a moment of pure joy. And I'm so happy that not only black women and men and allies have worked together, we have been doing that. This is just the fruit of seeds that have been planted for the last 10 to 20 years, that we have been quietly organizing and strategizing and working together. So we stand together today to say this is a moment of black girl magic. Black girl magic. So Ketanji Brown Jackson. Ketanji Brown Jackson, we thank you for representing us. Justice.
All right, thank you, ladies. All right. Who we got here? Who else we got here? All right, ladies. You see the drill? So just say who you are. Tell us what this means to you. What's going on in Michigan, my sister?
My name is Tamika Ramsey, and I am the BWR convener for Metro Detroit, Michigan. This moment means so much to me. So first, we can never say don't name your child that. They're not going to get anywhere, right? Because now we have a Supreme Court justice named Ketanji Brown Jackson. So all those little kids whose names are hard to pronounce, you matter. And the other thing is, we talked about today how this just didn't happen. That this had been worked in the process for hundreds of years. That if black women had not been organizing in the 1920s, slavery times, if Melody had not been working over the last 25 years, not just 5 years ago, not 5 months ago, but for the last 25 years, this is why this work is important. And sometimes it's hard and we get tired, and I know that you have not stopped moving. But if we stop moving, we procrastinate and we die. And so we have to organize, not just for numbers.
Women are filled with joy and excitement about the confirmation of Judge Jackson. It is a glorious day. And what it first makes me remember is that my own daughter, my baby girl, is graduating from law school in 1 month. Yeah. And that this means for her that there is actually a further distance that she can travel, that she's going into public sector lawyering, that she's going to be possibly a public defender, following in the footsteps of Judge Jackson, doing public interest law, and that it actually is valuable, it means something, and it has a resonance now on the Supreme Court. It's also really powerful to know that we will have a justice on the Supreme Court who actually is a public defender, who has represented all types of clients, protecting everyone's right to have access to the rule of law and to have justice. And that's a very powerful thing, something we haven't seen since Thurgood Marshall. And so the last thing I would say is that Judge Jackson is a parent, a mother, and representation, talented jurist, brilliant woman, and actually a working mom. And so we're overjoyed and can only imagine what we will see in the future.
Thank you, Carol. And who do we have coming up here? And we're going to be rotating chairs. So ladies, thank you all so very much. And can we rotate? Okay, thank you. Okay. And who is it? All right.